Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I talked to Ms. Teichman, Ms. Hong. We had a meeting yesterday, and we had Mr. Williams join our meeting. Okay, so here's the deal. If you work hard today and do this entire warm-up, and you turn in all the homework that's due this week today, and you work hard on that quiz, and I really recommend doing the review homework that's getting released to you today, Chapter 4 review, before you do the quiz. And take that slow because each problem, I think, has a link to a little video that shows you how to do that problem. Okay, so go to 1, watch the video, do problem 1. Go to 2, watch the video, do problem 2. You do that and take this slow throughout the whole thing and then do a good job, do your best. You don't have to ace it, but you just have to try hard on the assignment, on the quiz. And if you promise to do that, Mr. Williams has okayed it. Okay, Ms. Hong had this great idea, and Ms. Teichman and I agreed, and Mr. Williams said, it's okay, we can do this. You guys do all that, then we will give you Monday off. Okay, you can just sleep in Monday. You do not have to Zoom. We won't give you homework on Monday. You just take the day off because if you do all those things, you have earned it. Okay? Deal. Okay, you say Mr. Daniel said that. Okay? And thank Ms. Hong for thinking that great idea. Okay? Okay, here we go. You know the drill. Copy that down. Press pause. Go do your best. Come back and mark all those answers you got right, and see if you got any wrong. Okay? And remember, you find something you did wrong. That's like finding a golden nugget. It's valuable. Because why? Because that's where you learn. Okay, when you find out that you didn't know how to do something and you learn how to do it. That's the coolest thing. Okay, all right, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I got my squeaky chair all back. Here we go. We got products on top and sums on the bottom of these diamonds, right? What two numbers have a product of 54 and a sum of 15? Hopefully you figured that out. It's 9 times 6, 9 plus 6. And again, you can go either order because the commutative property of multiplication and the commutative property of addition. How about 56 and 15? That's going to be an 8 and a 7, 7 and an 8. How about 42,076 hundredths? Anybody figure out that one is going to be 7/10 and 6 hundredths. Remember, when you go add decimals, you stack the decimal one on top of another. You want the place values the same. So there's a 7 in the 10th place here. There's a 0 in the 10th place there. Okay? So I got to make sure that I line them up because I don't want to be adding 6/10 or 6 hundredths and 7/10, right? So here we go. The decimal comes straight down, so I end up with 76 hundredths. That works. And when I multiply, I go 7 times 6 is 42. Pretend there's no decimal, right? And then I got to go back and say I had to move the decimal one spot to the right in that 7/10 to pretend it was a 7. And I had to move it 2 spots to the right in that 6 hundredths to pretend it was a 6. So that's a total of 3 spots. I got to have to go back 3 spots in my answer. And when I go back 3 spots, I got this empty space. I always say, fill the egg carton. Fill the egg carton, right? Okay, that works. How about 112, 7/12? It's a tough one, huh? Never seen something that hard before. Well, hopefully I stumped a few of you, right? It's always good to stretch you out a little bit, right? Get you jumping towards something you can't quite reach yet, okay? We have a new rule in my class. If you don't know something and I ask in the chat, you can type in IDK if you add that last little initial, right? I don't know yet. That's the important thing, right? Growth mindset. All right, what works here? 1/3 and 1/4. What do I say? Multiplying fractions is what? Hopefully you yelled out easy. You yelled it out so loud your mom came from another room and said, what's easy? What are you talking about? Why are you yelling at the computer? Right? 1 times 1 on top, 3 times 4 on the bottom. That works. When I go to add these, I stack them because I got to change the denominators. And I'm already thinking I want to go to the 12s here because 3 and 4 both go into 12. I did 4 times 3, so I go 1 times 3. And notice I said 1 times 3. I didn't just go, so I put a 3 here. I have that habit of multiplying by the numerator, even if the numerator is 1. Okay, 3 times 4, 1 times 4. And 4 twelfths plus 3 more of them is 7. Okay? All right. Now, I teach a specific way to change mixed numbers to improper fractions, and I call it the C method, right? And it's a multiply and add, okay? So I'm going to make a C here, and I'm going to say 8 times 4 plus 1. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. That goes on top. Whatever I started with goes on the bottom, goes on the bottom. That's going to be the same with all 8 of these. Whatever started on the bottom goes on the bottom. Okay. Now, why am I able to do 8 times 4? Because each of those 4s, right? Let's say I got 4 pizzas here, and I divide those into 8, each of those, right? How many 8s in each of those 1 pizzas? Well, I got 8 8s, right? So I got 8 8s, 8 8s, 8 8s, 8 8s. That's a total of 32 8s. That's for the whole 4. 8 times 4 is 32. Then I add that extra one. That's why this works. Okay? All right. Here I got 3 thirds 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 2 more, 11. What goes on the bottom? Same thing that was on the bottom when I started. 14 and a half, make a giant C. 2 times 14 is 28 plus 1, 29 halves. 5 times 6 plus 2, 30 plus 2 is 32 fifths. Okay? Now, when I want to change a improper fraction into a mixed number, I divide the bottom into the top. So I'm going to cheat here and say that 3 goes into 300 100 times. I have a remainder. Now, your remainder goes on top. What was outside the box or what was on the bottom when you started goes on the bottom. 100 and 2/3. 5 into 27. 5 times 5 is 25. My remainder goes on top. What was on the bottom when I started goes on the bottom. 5 and 2/5. 4 into 19. Almost 5 times. 4 times 4 is 16. My remainder is going to go on top. What was on the bottom when I started goes on the bottom. 4 3/4. And 5 into 21 goes 4 times because that's 20. My remainder is coming on top. What was on the bottom when I started goes on the bottom. 4 1/5. Okay? Got it? Getting those now, huh? You getting better at them? That's cool because we got a cool pizzazz worksheet coming your way next week. It's a cool one. You have to be able to change fractions and simplify them. And a lot of the simplifying ones are actually improper fractions. Some of them are regular fractions, and you just have to simplify. Like 12 goes into 48 and 60. So that simplifies to 4/5. Then you go find the 4/5 over here. There it is. You connect this dot to that dot. It's going to go through 2 things, a letter and a number. So cool, these directions. I love these pizzazz worksheets. Okay, that's coming your way. Okay, so you get good at these, it'll make that easy. Now, when you see this word evaluate for the value given, don't freak out hearing these technical math terms. Get used to them. Say those words. You learn those words, and the more you say them, the more you own them. The more you sort of embed in your mind what they mean, right? The more you use it, the easier it is to use, the more you understand it. So don't freak out. And just remember, when you have a problem like that, all you're doing is you're playing soccer coach and you're going to substitute. What are you doing? What do you mean substitute? Well, if x equals 11, I can replace the x with 11. I'm going to substitute 11 in for x. Now, that doesn't mean this is 311, right? Because 3x means 3 times x. So put that big dot there. 3 times 11 minus 7. So 33 minus 7 is 26. Okay, all you're doing is substituting. So if a equals 3.2, I should be able to put 3.2 in for a. I have 2 times 3.2. Now I'm going to go over here and do this. Pretend like there's no decimal. 2 times 32 is 64, but I had 1 spot that I moved the decimal in the problem, so I go back 1 spot in my answer. 6.4 plus 1.5. Now I come over here and stack them and line up the decimals. It's easier here because they both have 2 numbers. the decimal in the middle. So it's hard to not line them up on that one, right? So I got 7.9, 7 9/10. Okay. M over 6 means M divided by 6. And if M equals 22.2, then really I'm going to substitute and say 22.2 divided by 6. Now let's do that one on the back. Got a little bit of extra room. Okay, paper's cheap, guys. Paper's cheap. Okay, don't try to save paper by not spacing out your problems, giving you the space and room to work. Okay, so it's less confusing when you got more room. Okay, 6 goes into 22 3 times because that's 18. Bring down the next number, and 6 goes into 42. How many times? Well, if you remember that most popular diamond ever, that 42 and 13, you are drilling in your brain. 6 times 7 is 42. Okay, so 3 7/10 is my answer on that one. 3 7/10. And 2.5y plus 7.2, if y equals 40, I'm going to substitute and say 2.5 times 40. Okay, 25 times 40 is my math problem when I pretend there's no decimal, right? And I get 1,000, but really that was 2.5, so I moved it over once in my problem. I got to move it back once in my answer. I get 100 on that one, right? So I have 100 plus 7 2/10, okay? And that's easy. It's 107 2/10. I'm not even going to write that one out, okay? But don't be afraid, okay? Writing it out, if you aren't sure, is a great thing to do. All right, now the perimeter of a shape is the distance around, so that's going to be x plus y. That gets me halfway around, and this is going to be another x and another y plus x plus y. Now I can combine these two x's and put those together, and then add the two y's and put those together, and I can rewrite x plus x as 2x and x plus, or y plus y as 2 times y, right? So the perimeter is 2x plus 2y. Okay, another way of looking at it, x plus y is halfway around. I need 2 of those, so I could just say the perimeter is 2 times x plus y. And then that brings us to that distributive property, right? What does this mean? 2 times x plus 2 times y, which is what we got, okay? Now the area of this is easier, right? What's the area? The length times the width, x times y. And how you write that in 8th grade? xy. Now, if we had units, you'd have to make sure you put units squared or centimeters squared or miles squared, right? Okay, because area is always square units. Perimeter is not. Perimeter is just the length, right? Now, this is a tricky one because it's b here, but it's a and a 2. So it's a plus 2 plus b plus a plus 2 plus b. I'm going to combine the a's and get a plus a. I'm going to combine the b's and get b plus b. I'm going to combine the 2's and get 2 plus 2. I can rewrite a plus a as 2 times a, or 2a. B plus b is 2 times b, or, right, 2b, or not 2b. And 2 plus 2, I can combine those to say 4. So the perimeter is this. Now, what's the area? It's b times a plus 2. Now, do you want to use the distributive property and see what that is? When we write it out, stretch it out, that's b times a plus b times 2. Okay, so ba plus 2b is the area. Okay, tricky, huh? All right, don't be freaking out. This is like pre-teaching, right? This is stuff we're not having to do just yet. Okay, so I'm sort of planting some seeds, and we're going to water them, give it some sunlight, and it's going to grow. And by the time we do this in the book, it's going to be ripe. And you're going to say, this is easy. Tasty apple. All right, m plus m plus m plus 8 plus 1. Can I just combine the 8 and the 1? Say, let's call that 9. Can I just say the m plus m is the same as 3 times m? So I'm going to say 3m plus 9 plus 3m plus 9. Okay, I'm going to combine the 3m and 3m. That's a total of 6m. And 9 plus 9 is 18. That is the perimeter. Okay. Now, when I go get the area, it's 3m times 9, which is 27m. And again, it was miles, it's square miles. If it's inches, it's square inches, right? If it's furlongs, it's square furlongs. Yeah, furlong is a distance of measurement. All right, so is a hand. You know, feet are measurement, right? But a hand is too. They usually use hands to measure horses for some reason. Go figure. All right, you guys, don't forget, you go work hard. Do what we asked. We'll give you Monday off. Okay? Have a great one, everybody.